Okay, so picked up the painting, or should I say the new artwork for the office. Um, Hopefully it looks good in there. It's about time we spice things up in the office a little bit. And have a bunch more errands to run today. But, you know, it's a sunny day. Maybe a little too sunny, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's talk about being a senior software engineer. I and some of my friends recently got promoted to the role of senior software, all in different companies, but mostly at the same time. And there's a few things that I've learned along the way. First off, being a senior software engineer is relative. Let's just get that right out. But what is senior in one company might not necessarily be senior in another company. But in general, at least there are certain, principles and things that you find across almost everybody that is called a senior software engineer, and one of it is experience. Now, I've taken a few notes. I'm not used to this memorizing my lines thing yet. I've taken a few notes. We'll go over some of the points that I've taken down, and then just talk through some of it, and hopefully someone gets the benefit of my experience with some of this. So first and foremost, yeah, you have to gain a broad experience of skills. You cannot be siloed in one stack. About 2 years ago, I stopped referring to myself as a particular stack engineer. Like when I first started, it was like, oh, I'm a Java engineer because I started with Java and then I switched to Python, and then I'm a Python engineer, and I was, dogged about Python and anti JavaScript. As luck will have it, I ended up getting a role as a front end engineer. Well, started out as a full stack, but then mostly front end, and then I ended up being exposed to a lot of JavaScript. But as time went on, I realized that programming languages are really just tools. And it is important to get a wide range of experience. You don't want to do that in the early part of your career. Like if you're a junior developer, you don't want to just be stack jumping from one place. No, you want to get as deep knowledge as possible in one particular area. If it's JavaScript, React, Node.js, then you silo yourself in that for a bit. But then as you progress beyond junior, you have to start expanding, because you find a lot of the principles that you've learned as a junior engineer now works for you as a mid-level, even in other stack. I worked with Rust and learned Rust on the job without having written a line of Rust before. No tutorial, no nothing, just thrown into the code base with a bunch of senior engineers who were available to help me learn the language. And I did that for 4 years prior to my current role. So you want a wide range of skills. Now I'm actually diving more into DevOps things and other infrastructure things, just so I can understand how that side of things work too, while still sticking to what I'm good at, which is just application development. Now, another thing you want to do is lead by example. When you learn, you want to mentor, and it doesn't always have to be online. I know we all like to do online tutorials and that kind of stuff, but yes, that's cool. And I do watch a fair bit of tutorials. But mentoring is also important. When you go to meetups and your local meetups, you would always find someone who is just starting out, or someone who hasn't gotten to the level that you are at. Maybe you're a junior engineer, you're a mid-level engineer, and there's someone else who just wants to know what is the difference between Java and JavaScript, for example. You can mentor those kind of people. The more you mentor, the more you realize your own limitations and how to work through those limitations. So you want to lead by example. then you want to focus on problem solving. Yeah. Being a senior engineer is like being a detective. Detective. You want to be able to figure out problems. They give you a problem, and yes, you might need help. I always ask my teammates for help, but in some ways, you need to have investigated and come to certain conclusions, and then you ask questions or ask for help based on your findings, either in the code base or in the stack or in whatever. So you have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to like the note said, you have to be you have to be a problem solver. So being able to investigate the code base, being able to Google stuff. People don't realize this, but we Google a lot in this job. Yes. Or should I say ChatGPT a lot these days? Because a lot of us use ChatGPTs now. So you have a problem, you copy a snippet of code. Sometimes I just paste it in ChatGPT and ask it, explain this to me, because maybe there's a lot of abstractions and things that I don't really understand, or I'm struggling to wrap my head around. Ask ChatGPT to explain that to me, and then it might give you a clue on what needs to be solved. But you want to be careful here. You don't want to rely too much on AI because a lot of them are actually quite stupid. So when people say AI will take our job, no, it's not. That is not even going to happen. But video for another day. You want to communicate efficiently. Yep. Efficient communication is important. And I tell people this, you could be a 10x engineer, the best engineer in the group. If you don't know how to communicate properly, then no one will want to work with you. You've written your code, you don't know how to explain your code. Or you get a code review and you react negatively to the code review. Or you are given a code review and you give it from a very condescending point of view. That can be a problem. I've talked about this in a previous video. I don't know if I posted that on YouTube, but you want to communicate efficiently. At Andela, we have this, when we went to training, we have this principle called ASK, actionable, specific, and kind. When you give feedback, you want something that is actionable, an actual point, like, okay, maybe you want to use a map here, or maybe you want to use a filter here. That's actionable. It's specific. It's relevant to that the context of what you are reviewing or what you're talking about. And it's kind. You also want to come at it from a point of, understanding that everybody's here to grow, and you could be the reason why someone advances in their career, and you want to be the reason why people advance in their career. Subscribe to all the blogs and all the tech influencers, especially in whatever stack of or language that you use. Now we have a lot of back end as a service that a lot of people are using, and even many startups are using. You want to use that and stay current. So that's self-explanatory. Stay up to date. Stay with the blogs. No one is saying you should go dumpster diving into reading too many things. You don't necessarily have to do that. You want to stay relevant as much as possible and stay up to date. Be proactive in projects. Yes, side projects, very important. Take an hour, 2 hours of your weekends. Doesn't necessarily have to be on the weekdays because you might be very busy on the weekdays, like I am. You want to do side projects, and it is side projects that either improve the stack that you are working in now or would make you relevant in another stack that you're interested in. And it also keeps you from burning out in a way, because when you're doing software engineering is something that many of us love, yes. But the fact that it's a job, in the end, a job can feel, tedious sometimes. But when you're also doing projects on the side that you actually love to work on, even if it's a to-do app, but you've added a bunch of AI to it, that's fine. As long as it's fun, it keeps you engaged. Or maybe you are a software engineer by day and a game developer by night, all well and good. Just keep, you know, refreshing your skills with projects, and you never know where that might take you to. Then you want to demonstrate leadership. Leadership, it's well, you have to decide what that is relative to where you are, relative to your environment. It could be like we've talked about before in your small, dev community that you're in. Maybe you're always, giving talks, organizing meetup, or just generally be part of that. And that's one way that people actually get job referrals, being part of that community. So you want to be visible in any dev community you find yourself in. And so whatever you learn, teach one. You want to seek feedback. Remember, ask, and attitude and everything we spoke about, this also plays into that. You want to seek feedback. If you go a month without getting feedback from any senior engineer, you might want to reach out to one or two of them and go, hey, yeah, what where do you think I can improve? And you want to ask him or her. I've had many senior engineers that I've worked with and still work with, and I'm always asking, hey, can I get a review on this? I always try to keep the feedback loop as small as possible so that I can get the feedback in time, make the changes, and then move on from there and learn as much as possible. Because you never know where that knowledge might take you to, your next career, your next project, wherever. A lot of people come into software engineering and then they don't necessarily have clear goals. You want to have clear goals. I cannot tell you what those goals are. Your goals are to make more money, for example. That's a very fine goal. Don't let anyone tell you, oh, don't do it for the money. Do it for the money. We all do it for the money. It's a very fine goal. But if you're going to do it for the money, then what does it take to earn the big bucks? What skill do I need to have? And then you focus on gaining that skill because you know the money will then come as a result. So you want to also focus on being among the best in your field. You want to focus on creating apps and product. Maybe you're a solo engineer, for example, and just working on your own thing. You want to create apps that deliver value. For me, that's one of the main reasons why I got into software engineering. Deliver apps and projects that actually deliver value to the end users. I want people to use something, gain value from it, and I know, yes, I created that, and people are enjoying it. Especially when I add a new feature to the app that I'm working on with my company, it gives me joy to see people use that app and get feedback from the product team, and they're like, oh, people really love this feature and all that kind of stuff. That validation and that feedback that we get is also motivation. Now there might be a host of other things that but all these things all add up towards getting you to the point where you are a senior software engineer. Now, do you stop learning as a senior software engineer? No, you don't. No, you don't. We are still going to learn a lot, and we are still going to ask for a lot of help. As a matter of fact, I think now as a senior software engineer, I am more comfortable asking for help because I know that we're all just trying to figure it out. And again, like I said, being a senior software engineer is relative anyway. We're all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to help each other out. And in the end, it's all about getting the best possible product out. And great products are built by great teams. That's one thing you have to know. And on the final note, a senior software engineer is someone who has broken more code than you have. Yes, we've broken a lot of code. We've also fixed a lot of code. And in the breaking and the fixing, we've grown stronger bones as a result. Or should I say stronger knowledge as a result. So don't be afraid to take on task. Don't be afraid to explore. And it will take time. It took me 7 years. It might take you less. It will take time, but it is one foot in front of the other. And eventually you will get there if that's your goal. Or you can just build your own application, 10x the application, and then call yourself some senior software engineer on that one. All right. Anyway, I got the poster finally after about 3 years of this wall being bare, and I like it. I really like the quality. I am going to get some more from this particular person. I might plug them in depending on how the relationship goes with them. But hopefully you gain some value from this video. If you have any questions, drop them. I would try my best to answer as many of them as possible. And yeah.